We're growing mainly small grains, wheat, spring wheat, barley, durum, winter wheat, and a few peas. Getting into that. We're cropping 2,600 acres each way, fallow and crop each year. As far as crop specs, this is my second year doing it. My goal is to be variable rating nitrogen, either doing it on the go right away or maybe even just, going over one pass, spraying weeds, etc. And then being able to make some zones or whatever I want to do later and come back. Yeah, we got started with variable rate here actually back in 2005. We were one of the first CSP watersheds. Part of our CSP project was variable rate nitrogen. And as a result of that, the crop spec came along. I kind of saw how that would tie in really nice with in-season application. Rather than putting all our N or a lot of N on the crop up front, it's a little better to hedge your bets a little and be able to put it on in season is a big factor. Yeah, I'm really happy with the crop specs so far, and I really look forward to doing my on the go as well as my zones with it. It's and particularly like this year, as I said earlier, not putting all your N on up front and being able to do it in season this year is going to be big because we're starting off a little dry, and if it stays dry, I can't tell you how much money I'll probably save. And if we do end up getting rain, I'll be able to go on, right now. So that's huge.
I raise wheat, barley, peas, canola, variable rate all my crops. TOPCON crop specs I've been using for 2 years now, and I really like them for efficiency and ease of use. We're in a low rainfall area, and I can put on 35, 40 units of nitrogen and not depend so much on the rain. And then when it rains, then I come back and I can add more 2-3 times a year if need be. And it saves me a tremendous amount of money and alleviates a lot of liability of crop risk. We see a good bump in our yield with the crop specs because you can put it on in front of a rain and timely and make use of what moisture you do get to convert to protein. I've had 18.9% protein spring wheat. It dried out a little bit that year, but it was 61 pound, and I got a very high premium because it was such high quality wheat. I would say you could probably be as high as 20% in savings on your nitrogen because you use it more timely. You don't need it all over the field. You need it in the spots that are going to yield more. In the lower yield spots, you don't need that nitrogen there. So you save considerable. I believe my crop specs in 2 years have paid for themselves. Just in nitrogen savings alone, they paid for themselves, but in crop standpoint, on 4,500 acres that I farm, would pay for itself in 1 year. The stands, oh my goodness, you get such a much better stand with the use of the nitrogen at the right time of the year. I'm very happy with the crop spec system right now. It's just one more tool in my toolbox of good things, and you can't have too many of those.
We grow a little bit of peas, canola, hay, but predominantly small grains, wheat, barley. Okay, with the crop spec, we're utilizing it on, I call them 2 different practices, irrigated and dry land. And on the lesser quality grain, we put more fertilizer on, which helps stimulate growth in those areas, and we'll utilize less on the better areas on the irrigated. And then on the dry land, we invert that to where on the poor areas, we put less fertilizer, and on the better areas with the crop spec, we put more. We've seen a very impressive increase in protein by utilizing the crop specs in the late season. We are seeing a huge, on the protein aspect, a huge bump in, we're using less fertilizer to get higher protein by split applying our nitrogen. What I like about the crop spec is alleviating the risk of volatilization and leaching. You add the nutrients as the rainfall comes, and therefore you're not open to as much risk as a producer.
We've got about a 4,000 acre dryland, wheat, barley, peas, canola, cow farm. And today we were doing nitrogen applications using the TOPCON crop specs, applying a mixture of ammonium sulfate and 28%. So the whole variable rate concept, especially here in Montana, was to apply all your fertilizer in the winter and hope it rains. So what we're trying to do is a just as you needed approach. So instead of, again, trying to model or predict what might happen, we're out here responding to what the plants are telling us. And the reason we can do that is because of the crop specs. There's a lot of other benefits than just saving nitrogen or increased yield. There's protein. The last 2 years, our spring wheat hasn't come in under 14.5 or 15, which is phenomenal. This is barley, and this is our first application. So traditionally, you'd put all your fertilizer on up front and hope it rains. Well, we're on an as-needed approach. So yeah, on-the-go variable rate, right now, real time. Just-in-time management is what I call it. Last year, we probably saved $20,000 to $30,000 from average on our fertilizer bill. If we don't get any rain in the next couple weeks, we might be saving $50,000. We're trying to take the risk out of this and not invest into this crop until we absolutely need to or it needs it. The guys that are using these things, they're growing higher yields on the same or less fertilizer every time.